Well, hey again everyone, this was a bit of a different type of update video because I want to update you on exactly what I'm going to be doing on the Retro Video Series coming up next. Now, I've talked a lot about this entire Star Wars Special Edition video I was going to do for the home video history, but something else kind of came up in the Star Wars realm as I was getting up to different things. People throwing me a couple different comments here and there about when I did the first video last year between 1982 to 1995, all the pre-Special Edition stuff. And there are a few things on that video and a few things recently that people kind of thrown up my way about certain other releases that I did not talk about in that video. So I am actually going to be producing a different video first before I get to the special edition. This one's going to cover some unique releases such as the THX. Now, one was the THX certified VHS release done in the UK, but a very particular and unique box set that was put out on VHS to really talk about called the Executor set. And there's some very, very short, somewhat short-lived, relatively short-lived, a little bit more obscure video formats that cropped up in the 80s that didn't get too far, but there were certain releases done for the original trilogy on those formats that I think are worth talking about if I'm going to talk about this set as well. So I'm kind of tentatively calling this like the Missing Pieces episode or something else like that. It's going to be a slight addendum to what I did before. Then we'll go directly into the special editions in a separate video. So, special editions ones will obviously cover my Laserdisc box set, my later widescreen 2001 VHS set, and as well as everything in between there, including all the Japanese releases and stuff like that. And maybe, depending on exactly how much that encompasses, because there's a lot of stuff to get into on that. Whether it's that video or what I do after that in some regard whatsoever, I will eventually get up to the early DVD releases, such as the original box set, including all the original 3 films and the bonus disc, and all the particular changes that went on audio and video-wise on that release. And of course, capping off with the 2006 limited edition DVD releases, which had the old definitive edition THX Laserdisc masters put on as the original theatrical versions. So look forward to that stuff. I should start production on that first one this weekend, finishing up my research. I don't have any of these releases myself, but I have obtained a couple of transfers from various sources online for like the CEDs, the UK PAL VHS tapes. Still looking around for stuff for the VHD release, which is a very unique format that did last a bit longer into the 80s than some other formats did. But it's very comparable to the old CED stuff, which is a lot more stuff to get into, explaining what these formats were and just how the trilogy got released on these things, and maybe show a few samples when I actually have any samples to show. But since I don't have any of these formats or any of these releases, I don't have anything personally, so I have to grab them third party in a certain way. But I've had a little bit of help getting that going forward in some places, but not everything is readily available for that regard. But hopefully something will crop up between now and when I get into post-production to kind of talk about things here and there. But that's coming up on the Retro Video Series on that regard. And maybe a much later on thing that was kind of commented on when I did the Highlander one was maybe doing something with Blade Runner. I've got this big Blade Runner poster that's been in this corner since like day one or something else like that. I've had the poster forever. There's a lot of different releases on that thing. There's a lot of different cuts to that film, and I have them all on Blu-ray. But since it's retro video series, like, I don't want to, like, okay, they're all on Blu-ray. That's not retro video stuff. But if I kind of move into researching the VHS, the Laserdisc, stuff like that, the early DVD stuff, then it does qualify. Talking about where the history was on all these formats, what landed on what release and stuff like that, I could tie it in. And certainly there would be an audience be interested to see me break down the differences between different cuts, especially that work print one, which I find very interesting, which has a very fascinating story behind it, that eventually, down the line, months from now, I'll eventually get to it. But it's very much a fertile idea that I thought was a very good one from one of my commenters and followers here on the channel. So I need to get the 4K release, so that's just the last piece of anything I would need, just to see it in 4K, and kind of assess what the little bit of the Dolby Atmos stuff. I'd have to get a little bit more information about that, because I've heard some differing opinions about how that Atmos track went off, but I'll see how things go off. I have a few friends that can tap and see, have a proper Atmos setup to see what they feel about the whole thing. But in due time, guys, so there's a lot of interesting things coming up on the Retro Video Series that I'm very much planning out, doing a lot of research on. It takes a lot of time, but I'm very much excited for it. So, guys, hopefully you'll be very much interested on that. And, of course, I'm releasing this on what would technically be Star Wars Day, because today is the 40th anniversary of the release of Return of the Jedi, and also the original Star Wars was released on May 25th, 1977. So, very much a specific date in the history of Star Wars, May 25th. So, guys, thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.